first entry of Marvel's Phase 5 is, while being stunning visually and Paul Rudd still being good in the role of Antman / Scott Lang, just doesn't stand as its own story and movie because a lot of it is just building to what is about to happen in the future of Marvel. In fact, it's so focused on it that it forgets to tell its own good standalone story. Marvel has faced some criticism as of late with their Phase 4, and I think it has a lot to do with that many of the characters we spent over a decade with are dead after Endgame. It is a hard challenge to present new characters when you get attached to characters like Iron Man and Captain America. To me, Phase 4 is mostly good. I don't feel it is as bad as most people make it out to be. Its job is to introduce new heroes and new villains into the MCU. And I think when Marvel started out with the first Iron Man, you also weren't familiar with the on-screen versions of the characters. And it took some time to build a connection between the MCU and the audience, and it paid off. Similarly, I think we are at the same situation now, where the MCU is kind of starting fresh. While being a continuation of the MCU, we know it's also introducing new characters we will follow for the next decade. And sure, this phase has not been as good as the others, but it's far from a bad batch of movies. This movie though just feels bland, and there is too much focus on building the future instead of making a good movie contained on its own. The story in this is all about Kang the Conqueror, and Jonathan Majors really delivers in the role. He is the most interesting thing about this movie, and the scenes he is in are very tense and well acted. I kind of feel like Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne are thrown to the side in this, and it is an issue. They have no defined character arcs and they don't get much to do. The story is very basic. It is basically that Scott Lang's daughter creates this sort of telescope that can monitor the quantum realm. Down in the quantum realm we meet several new characters along with seeing societies that Kang already conquered. And the story is just about Kang wanting to get out of the quantum realm. There just isn't enough story and character development in this movie. It is one of the most visually stunning movies in the MCU, and there are standalone scenes that are very well made, but as an overall movie, it's just a filler for what is to come. It seems like the writer or writers forgot to write an engaging story for the movie itself and had too much thoughts on the future. I've seen many complaints about MODOK, but I do think he works for what the intention for him is. Many complain about the CGI being bad, but I don't think it's bad CGI in execution. It's kind of intentional bad CGI that works for how the character is portrayed in the movie. For being the first movie in Phase 5, it is a very empty movie, with great visuals and great action. But the story is very thin, and the character development is non-existent. I hope the MCU picks it up and starts producing the great comic book movie content we are used to. Even though most of them are formulaic, they are at least entertaining and well written enough for the most part, but this was maybe the weakest movie in the franchise along with Age of Ultron. I will give this movie a 4 out of 10. This has been Boogeyman Cinema, and I hope you enjoyed the video.